Hello everyone, Wicked Modeler 3D, and today we have another part of a 3ds Max tutorial that I've taught in my previous tutorials, or my previous tutorial in the first part on how to make this level. Last time I left you off, we stitched the base into this level, and pretty much we got it to work. So as we can see, with our hard-earned labor, we got a very good clean geometry throughout the space, so that's good. Now what we need to do is we need to apply the water, because I forgot to do it in the last episode, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So what we're going to do in this part is we're going to go ahead and make the water here. So we're going to go hit this cube in the top and then hit U for perspective, by default set to U. And then we're going to stretch it right around the width of this river, like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit P so we can get back to it. Sometimes it'll do that, just don't worry about it. But whenever you get out of this window by doing Alt W, you can easily change those back. But anyway, we're going to hit P to go to perspective, and we're going to go ahead and line this up. And in here we're going to go into our modify panel, and we're going to go ahead in the plane, we're going to take out the width segments, and we're going to add length segments. So I'd say ideally I want to put like 14 or whatever. You can go however you want, really doesn't matter. So we're basically just going off for that. You want the water to slightly overlap, so you don't need to worry about sealing your level or any of that kind of stuff. So we're going to make this a little higher than normal. So I would recommend making this a little higher, but not too high, but like somewhere around this level. And before we start to shape what the stream is going to look like with the cursor here, we are going to add the material. So speaking of materials, I want to make a quick correction. So in the last video, I had set up two multi-sub materials. So I had to move them all in this multi-sub object, because what I realized is that only one object can have one multi-sub object of materials. So you're going to have to add materials as you go. So there is a way to increase it by adding one by clicking add and then, delete and so on. So you can like scroll down and the whole 9 yards to adjust what you need to, for your shaders and stuff. So like I said before, the names don't really matter as long as these materials over here where the sub materials are, basically the textures need to be uniquely named exactly like the shaders it is in CE. So it's very important to remember that. So we got that to work. So I got all these functional and ready to go. So if you don't already have these set up, it's very simple. Just make sure you double click on these, make sure these are exactly named as the textures TIFF, and you should be able to use them pretty uniquely. So as long as you have something set up like I do. Now the one thing you don't need to worry about is the wireframe stuff. You don't really need to worry about that. You don't need to add that because that's not going to be in the game. That's just me with my renders and stuff. So just ignore the wireframes because they don't really serve a purpose. So anyway, since we already have this set up for the sake of this video, we're going to go ahead and set these up. So since we are going to set these up, we're going to go ahead and put the material for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit 4. Or actually, we're going to go for an edit poly, or you can convert it to an editable poly by doing this. It doesn't really matter. We're going to hit 4 for polygon select, Control A, hit M to go back to the menu, and then click on the sub-object material, and then assign material to selection. And then in here, it's going to look blue because at first, the first material is the sky material, or it's going to be a different material. It's very random. So you're going to go down to this panel, and until when you find polygon material IDs, you have to make sure you're in polygon mode. And you're going to go in here and go through the thing here. So stream is going to be 3 for me. Now, you can adjust it however you want. So we're going to go ahead and adjust this to a 90-degree angle, just like that. And once we have set that up, we're going to go ahead and adjust these manually by vertex. So we're going to just move these individually, just like that. So nothing rocket science here, just doing it like this. So you can kind of tinker around by just doing all that and going from there, and you can go from there and evaluate how it's going to be set up and whatnot. So we're pretty much going to set this up to like 14. We don't really need to have, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's a render only object, so what, you know, it's not a big deal. But yeah, so we got this going here. So this is going to be heading into this little lake here, or this stream. What am I talking about? So we want to make it look like it's heading in the stream, just like that. So we can like adjust these like that, and we can move these forward. I mean, it's a very tedious process. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but anyway, pretty much you adjust them by vertice. Now, if you need to look precisely, you can go back and forth by doing Alt-Q. So you can actually select it and then Alt-Q again to see your object again. So it's pretty straightforward. So we got our water shader looking pretty good. So we got this to lead in here. So it looks pretty nice. So we got it mostly where we want it to be. So that's a good thing. So we got our water in. Now what we need to do is we need to call this stream for now. So in the modify panel, we're going to go ahead and type in stream, just like that. I mean, you can name it however you want. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assign the materials to the base. So since this is already stitched to the level, we can just select it already in polygon mode. I'm going to go ahead and turn off open edges preview, basically showing open edges and stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the same material IDs we were just at, and we're going to cycle through the materials until we see plate floor or some texture that resembles this. Now, if it looks really not good at all in terms of its UV stuff, it's very simple. Go to your modifier list until you see UV map, just like that, and you can do a box or you can do it planar, doesn't really matter. And what you can do is you can go to the gizmo. So if you hit this drop down menu, go through here, and you can adjust the gizmo to this part. So as long as you have this selected, right, we're going to go ahead and you can scale it like this. So you can scale it like that, and you can scale it on the y-axis and, you know, go from there. And if you want to shrink it down to give it like this effect, you can for sure do that. So in this case, it looks pretty good. I might want to adjust it a little bit, moving around. It looks pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and do edit poly. And in here, we're going to go ahead and select all around this structure, just like that. So we're going to just select these pieces that I'm selecting here. So this is a pretty easy process. You select all the stuff around. Make sure you turn on occluded so it doesn't accidentally click something that's behind something. So that way, it can't be something can't be accidentally selected out of here or whatever it is. So since we have all these selected, we're going to go ahead and apply the panel texture that you see. So we're going to find the panel. Yep, so panels. And we're going to leave this selected. And if you hit F2, you can definitely see that it can cause something like this, but that's normal. That's because we haven't unwrapped it yet. So we're going to go ahead and UV map it again. And we're going to go ahead and do box. And you can adjust it however you want, honestly. So if you hit 2 or F2, well, I don't know what that's doing, but you can you can easily see what that looks like. So you hit F2. So if you click on Gizmo and hit F2, you can easily see the texture. So, you know, the red isn't filling it. And your texture should look like this. Now, you can fine tune it if you really want to by scaling it. So you can scale it like this if you wanted to scale the box. Totally up to you. But I think this is good as is. So we're going to go ahead and edit poly this. And if you want to collapse it all, you can right click, collapse all, and then yes. And it will turn it to an editable poly. So that way you don't have like a lot of lists, unless if you want to correct your stuff. But anyway, we have unwrapped that. Now we're going to go ahead and unwrap our teleporter. The one trick I will want to show you is, for instance, if we have this teleporter thing blocking our way, since our back, this whole structure we need to select was back here, we need to hide this temporarily. So up here over this panel, we're going to temporarily hide this set of planes, or this subdivided plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to hide selected, and then you can move it around for it to update, depends. And now we can have full access to this area that is otherwise blocked by the teleporter render. So now what we're going to do is select all around here, and we're going to assign the metal material, just metal, like the bare metal. And we're going to go ahead and do UV map, box, and then edit poly again, and you can see the result. It could have been done better, but honestly, I really don't really care for this purpose. So we're going to go ahead and go back to polygon mode, unhide all, so that way you can have the teleporters pop in and back again. And in here, we're going to go ahead and apply the teleporter effect. So we're going to go to this list until we hit or stop to the teleporter, and we can definitely see that this works. And if it doesn't appear like this, you can easily do this and do the UV map and then do planar. And then what you can do is you can hit the alignment of where this stuff is at, where my mouse is. And you can do X or whatever, and you can do fit, or you could do center. Sometimes these can be a little funky to work with. Actually, I got the wrong direction, that's why. So we got Y, fit. So yeah, so if you do it like the Y and then center and then fit, it works really well. And boom, that is your teleporter effect. So now what we're going to do now is we're going to finish the rest. So we're going to do the ladders and stuff last. We want to get this interior section done. So these three faces I have selected on the top and left and right, we are going to put it as the metal material, and then UV map again, box, and then we can go to hit the gizmo and then F2 to see or preview the material, and it looks pretty good, so no complaints there. So we're going to move on, hit UV map again, and then edit poly. Now we need to put the ground stuff to it, so, or the not the ground stuff, the metal floor. So we're going to go to metal floor, and then we're going to do a UV map, and it's going to be planar, obviously, and we want it to be Z, on the Z axis, so something like this would work. So something like this would work. So you can easily do that if you want. So we're going to just actually it looks just fine, so we can just do edit poly, and then we're going to finish our ladders here. So we're going to put these both in ladders. Okay, so we did ladders here. Now we're going to select one of them, and we're going to do another UV map like this, and it's going to be planar. We want it to be Y, no, it's going to be on the Z axis. Sometimes it's really funky to mess around with. So yeah, so in my case it's Y, sometimes it's X. You kind of just fit around with the settings until it's right. So edit poly again, and then we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so we did that. Now it is time for the lights. So what you can do is you can select both of these lights, and then we're going to do hide unselected. So since you have both of these selected, you can easily see the lights better. So we want both of these lights blue. So this is going to be the blue lights all together. So this is going to be lights blue. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do unwrap UVW this time. And then we're going to do plane. And then we're going to do best align. And then we're going to rotate. Or no, we can't rotate. We're going to go to our open UV editor. And then we're going to go down this list to the top right. And we're going to look for tutorial lights blue. There we go. So we got that. Now, what I recommend doing is if you can't select this island, you just hit 3 twice. I don't know why. Probably just does that. But, yep. So now we're going to go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees. Align it. So you can hold shift. So shift and then hold left click. And then move it to the left. And then what we can do is we can hit the scale button. And then do the same thing. So to shift down the x-axis, you do shift and hold left click. And then shift and down click. So you hold shift and then left click up like this. And as long as you get this result here, that's what we want through here. So we want this result. It looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and close out of this. And we're going to do another edit poly. And we're going to do the same thing. Now, you can reduce the repetitiveness if you want to copy it, but I wanted to keep it exact as it is. But yeah, so we're going to do best align, and you can just, we're going to, oh yeah, another reason why I can't edit it in the UV editor was because I had the projection thing on. So we're going to just click that off once you're done, open the UV editor again. And then we're going to go into our blue thing again. Hold shift and left click like this. Drag it over here. And then what you do is we're going to shift and left click here. Like that. Alright, so basically you kind of fine tune the textures. Now if it looks like this, you would most likely need to rotate it, or you can do this right here. So you can easily hit this button, it will automatically rotate it 90 degrees. You don't have to manually do it. So we're going to do the same thing. So looks like here we did pretty good there. So we're going to reach it here, fine tune it like this. Like that, and then we got our light texture pretty good on there. So we can see that yeah, so we got this mostly right for the most part, so that's good. So we're going to close out of that, edit poly, and then we're going to hit 4 again for polygon select, and then go up here, unhide all. And as you can see, that the lights are there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, since we have most of these things applied, we're going to go ahead and add the other base. So it's the same process as the first base, so I'm going to see you in the next part once I get this done. Okay, so I am back. I have made the base. The only difference on the opposing side would be to add the red lights underneath. So instead of the blue lights, this is going to be the red lights, of course. So it's going to be that unwrap, and the sides are pretty much almost the same. So now we should be able to export this. But okay, so in order to make a portal for CE, this is going to be quite a different process compared to Blender. So just follow my lead and you'll be fine. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a plane, and roughly create it in the center so you can like be orthographic like this, and then you can like hold control and click and drag. And then what you can do is you can hit P to go back to perspective, and then from here you can basically change this however you want. But for this instance, we're gonna just focus on 3 segments for each, the width and length. And once we're done with that, we're going to put this over. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and convert this to an edible mesh. So right click, convert to edible mesh, and you're going to select these edges here, excluding the ones outside. So basically the ones that are outside of these, the square here, don't select those, just only select the inside of these. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold shift and then left click down to extrude down like this, and you should have this result. So it will extrude these down. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and what is it? Yeah, so you go ahead and delete these faces. Make sure you don't accidentally delete the faces down here because they're pretty important to have. So it's very important that you do that. So we got portals here. So since we got these portals here, we can move it down. You want it to kind of collide with the ground a little bit, not by much, but pretty much that's how it works. Maybe you could just do something a little bit bigger than that. In my opinion, it really doesn't matter how you do it. It's preferable on how you do it. So we got the portals set up, pretty much the planes we set up. One thing I will show you in this video is to apply your materials properly. So we're going to pull into the materials tab here. So we're going to just maximize it. And I'm going to go ahead and add 2 more of these. So you would click the add button twice. And we're going to add 2 special materials. So we're going to call this just portal, and the other one exact portal, or exact portals. It doesn't really matter how you spell it, but once you get to the material, it's very important how you name these. So what I recommend doing when you create the new material is you right click materials, general, physical material, and then in here you're going to type plus portal, and then the other material is going to be called exact portal. So it's going to be called plus exact portal. And the reason why we have both of these is because one of these are for the environment, one of them are for structures. So basically, square, like pretty much stuff that's squared that will occlude properly, which you'll see when we load this into tag test here. So the one thing I recommend doing is I would put these in like a random color. So I'd put these orange, and for instance, the exact portals, I would put them in like a darker blue. So something like this would work. So that would be like a darker blue. And then you're going to exit out of this real quick, and then select all these, Control A, M, and then these are going to be the plus portal. They're going to be assigned to this material. Actually, you want these to be assigned here, so you can actually assign them correctly. So we're going to hit M. So what you're going to do is you pretty much go down here, go to material. That's really interesting. Sometimes it gets really weird like that. If that happens to you, I recommend just going to the material directly and it will apply it. So there you go, it's been applied. Sometimes it can get really finicky on that stuff. So okay, so you have created your portals. Make sure this is called portals for your object. We're going to go ahead and hide this real quick, and I'm going to teach you also another portal method for doorways, like I barely went over. So what you're going to do is I recommend that you place a box, right? So you place a box, And then what you're going to do is you're going to put a edit poly, hit 4, polygon select, Control A, delete, and then you can hit 1 for vertex select or sub select. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to hit this create button, or it should be in these menus somewhere. Yeah, just create, and then tap S. Make sure you have vertex snapping on, so you right click on that and then vertex, and you'll see vertex is being placed. And then you're gonna right click to get out of it, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit 4 and then create, and then tap S to make sure snapping's on, and then you pretty much do that. So you basically double click at the last one, or that you have selected there, and we're going to flip these. So we're going to go to here, flip, and we have done that, and we're going to do this to all 4 sides. So pretty much self-explanatory, very easy to follow. If Chief gets in the way, you can do Alt Q, or no, you can't, because it's not within the level. No big deal. You could just hide him here. Yep, you just hide him through here. He's called armor if you import that tag. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create more stuff here. So we're going to create yep, so we're going to create there, create more vertexes, right click, for polygon select to make sure you deselect the other one, create, and then just click once on all these and then double click at the last one, right click, and then flip. And yeah, pretty much that's how that all works. I know it's kind of boring having to go through these. So we're going to do this. There we go. Okay, and one more. So we have one more to go. All right. So we have 4. And then create. Oh shit. Like that. And there we go. Just make sure you don't accidentally create a primitive like this, because sometimes it'll do that. Just be wary. You just do Alt Q and make sure that you don't connect stuff like that. So once you're done, you're going to go ahead and... actually, these are separate. So we're going to go ahead and call these exact portals. So we call these exact portals. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do hit polygon select, or 4, Alt A, M, and then plus exact portal, right click, assign material to selection, and then hit M again, and you'll see that the material has been successfully applied. Make sure that these are flipped in the right way. So I don't think it really matters, but just in case. But yeah, so that's how portals are done. So now we got all the portals that we're going to need. Now another one I could do for the last step is for like clipping boundaries, which we'll get to for the extras part. Since technically the portals are extra, but it's also good to remember to use portals, especially when you have a lot of dense geometry, but you want to keep them simple, because since considering this is like an old Halo engine, you want to keep things optimized for it to be stable running in the game properly. So now that we have done that, we're going to go ahead and parent these together. So make sure you have your layer explorer turned on. It should pop up something like this, and you should have some hierarchy like that. And we're going to link these together. So so what you can do is, since we labeled these, so we labeled all these, you make sure you have this re-enabled for visibility, the portals layer. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to link these to the frame. So we're going to click the select and link button on the top. And what I typically do is click the portals first and drag it to frame. And then you're going to do the same thing with the exact portals. And you're going to do that, and there you go. and you can click on that, so you can disable that, and you have successfully put that alongside with the frame. Now it's tied with the frame, so it should be visible in Halo 1. So now we're going to go on to the exporting process. So this could be a bit of a pain to do. So I'm going to give you a fair warning right now. Since this is Halo 1's engine, we're just going to do our best here and just try to, best follow along as much as you can. You can do the scripting one if you want, or you can do the FBX method, which we're going to do just for simplicity. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to your Halo 1 directory folder. You're going to make a folder called FBX and then your level name. So it would be tutorial level 2. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to your data, levels, test, and then, you create a folder, which is tutorial test 2. And inside that folder, you're going to create a models folder. This is basically what tool is going to look for inside this folder that will have your JMS. So just keep that in mind. So so for this instance, we're just going to export the FBX in this case. So we're going to go ahead and go back to our FBX folder. We're going to save this FBX into this FBX folder in the root folder of our mod tools. So it's not going to be in the data folder. It has to be outside of the data folder so it can properly, import it and convert it to a JMS. So we're going to save it. If any of this stuff pops up, just click OK. It doesn't really mean anything. Actually, one thing too I forgot to tell you is make sure that you have these all in edible mesh. Since this is an older game, probably doesn't matter for Halo 1. You can just do edible poly, but make sure they're edible mesh as a good practice. So that way you won't have any problems later in the future. So we're going to go ahead and just make sure these are all edible poly, or not poly, mesh. So then that way Halo doesn't freak out and get all weird. So we're going to go ahead and save our project. And then we're going to go ahead and export the FBX file again. So save, and then hit yes, OK, and then OK again. Now, if you're going to do it the hard way, you can. I can provide a link in to C20 on how you do it manually in Tool, but in this case, we're going to do it in Soyos. But Soyos, it's really easy to use. So in order to convert an FBX to a JMS, we're going to go ahead and click this button here. Make sure this is all set up the right way. Very easy to set up. There should be tutorials on how you should set it up, so you should be able to easily look it up online. So we're going to go ahead and click the FBX button, and we're going to go to our FBX folder that we have already exported it in, and then we're going to open that. It will open another dialog of window of where you want to save your JMS. So you're going to go to your data folder, which it already has on mine. So HCEK, data, levels, test, tutorial test 2, or whatever you called it, models, which would be your folder that tool will look for, and then save, and then hit yes. Well, for me, it does that. Now, if you have something like this, don't worry about it. We're going to go ahead and check out that stuff when we imported it. Since we converted to a JMS now, we're going to go ahead and import it. So we're going to only hit import only. And if you haven't done it already, we're going to go ahead and go to our data, and then go to our level folder, models, and then in here should be your JMS. And you're going to open it, and make sure it's in the models folder, by the way, or else it won't work. So we're going to go ahead and import the level. It should already do it. I don't know why it's not popping up. Oh, oops. Okay. So it's going to build the geometry here. And okay, so it failed on export. If it didn't fail on this part, you can go ahead and skip it. But if it's a problem for you, I'll show you how to quickly fix this stuff. It's pretty easy. It's just kind of tedious. So hopefully you don't have a lot of errors. So that's why I stressed a lot on how to, make sure your geometry is manifold. So you'll say arrow edge is open, red, and just hit continue. Okay, so since it found that, we're going to go ahead and hide our portals temporarily. And then what we're going to do is we're going to import the WRL file or the whirl file. So you're going to go ahead and go to folder, import, and then you're going to go all the way down to CVRML. And then you're going to go to your models folder where it will save the WRL after compile. So you're going to open that. Now, make sure you turn off reset scene and 3ds coordinates. I don't know why these are checked, so turn these off except for create primitives. So we're going to click OK. And here, we're going to turn off our level, and you'll start to see these lines. So we're going to turn off our seam so we can easily see it. Just ignore this stuff. This is just the Master Chief stuff, so don't worry too much about that. It's not really that important. So what you're going to see in here is stuff for the pretty much the errors that we're having. So it shows you where it's located. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and re-enable our level and kind of toggle back and forth on where there are, and it looks like it's having issues right here. So what I typically do to fix this stuff is I typically weld it again to make sure that these are, you know, in place. So what I recommend doing is temporarily putting the level thing in the editable poly. So what I recommend doing is right click, editable poly, and in here we're going to move this down, and you can see that we have an issue here, and we have this weird geometry. So in order to fix that, we just pretty much just go to our edge select, control backspace to get rid of it, and then you can move it right back up. And then in here you can just like click these two things, and you can go here, connect, and then you can do the same thing, connect these together. So then that way it won't have any problems. So we fixed that one. We're going to go ahead and fix this one as well. This seems to have the same problem, so you can tap S to get off the snapping. So we're going to go ahead and just delete that, or not delete that. We're going to control backspace that, and then move this back up and snap into place. And we're going to go ahead and, for safety measures, to connect this as a triangle. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I forgot to do the control A thing. So now that should be fixed. What is another one we needed to fix? Okay, so we did not fix this one. So we're going to go in here. Same dealio. We just go down here. And then, yeah, so I don't know if you can tell. So we're going to just go ahead and do object properties, backface colon. We're going to turn off real quick. And you can easily see that the faces can flicker, and it can cause some undesirable results. So it's kind of weird. If you want to change your point of interest, you can easily do it down here and click this like Saturn looking thing, and it will do it from there. But now you start to see kind of the problem with that. So if there's no like line here, even though there is, that's just basically the error checks. Pretty much what I typically do is I would do Alt Q to make sure I hide everything. And it looks like it's kind of being weird, obviously. So if we want to fix that, we're gonna go ahead and delete this face here, and then we're gonna do 3, and then we're gonna cap this. So we're gonna do 3 for border select, cap, and it should fix it. I think that should be fixed by now. It should fix it pretty much, and we won't have that weird issue. Sometimes it does that. I don't know why, but it typically does. Oh yeah, so I can see why. So if it looks something like this, that typically does that, and I'm not sure why it just does that. So we're just gonna call it a day from there. So that's pretty much the end of that. We're gonna put it back to backface call again. Okay, so we're going to re-enable all of our stuff within the frame. So basically, make everything visible again. And then we're going to go ahead and export again as a FBX. Same process as I told you before. Yes, okay, okay. All right, so we're going to go to Soyos. I don't know what this auto FBX thing does. There could be something that automates the process easier. So we've already done that. Tutorial level 2, open levels, test. I think it's, which one did I do? Oh yeah, it's this one. Okay, so we're gonna save that. Just hit yes. And it looks like we don't have any errors. So we're gonna continue on, and then we're gonna go and browse for the JMS model. Open, and then we're going to import it. And hopefully this will come out well. I hope so. Okay, so it went pretty well. Now, if you have some errors like this, I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's errors. Sometimes it is what it is. But you should see down here that it successfully compiled it. So now we have 910 surfaces and, you know, all this statistical stuff, 35 portals, 22 clusters. So basically the portals that we've added. So our portals work. Just don't worry too much about the unearthed edge stuff. It's just very minor. If you want to look at the detailed stuff, I recommend just going into Blender and doing it, because Max, it's not very well viewable, because in Blender you can easily see it, but it's separated, you can easily tell, but Max is a bit complicated. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and hit continue on that, and before we do any lighting, we're gonna go ahead and go into Guerilla. So hooray, you have compiled your first Halo CE level. So we're gonna go here into Guerilla. So we're gonna go in Guerilla. We're gonna open a tag. We're gonna go to levels. Where is levels? Oh, it's right there. Test, tutorial test 2, and click the dot scenario tag, which would be tutorial test _2 scenario. We're gonna open that. And this will be your first time that you open a tag. For your custom level. So now what we're going to do, first things first, is to add a sky. So we're going to click that, and then we're going to add a sky tag. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the tags and go to the sky tag. You can pick anything you want. Preferably, I would do one of the other ones that are stock. I would do infinity or whatever sky is good. I think Timberland's a good sky. So we're going to open that. We're going to change the type to multiplayer, and then we're going to look for starting equipment, which should be right here. So it should say starting equipment, which is kind of cut out there. And here we're going to put, for our first type, all games, collection 1. We're going to go to tags, item collection, single weapons, and here we're gonna go for that later, but that's custom stuff. So you can give yourself a pistol, assault rifle, rocket launcher, whatever you want. We're just gonna do the plasma cannon or plasma, whatever. We can do whatever it is. And then we're gonna do the pistol here. Okay, so we got that all taken care of there. And that should be it for Guerilla. So we're going to go ahead and Control S to save it. And then we're going to exit out of this tag, exit out of Guerilla. And then now we're going to light our level since we have a sky tag. So we're going to go ahead and go light only. And for this instance, we're going to just do draft lighting. You can just leave in the middle. Make sure it's the same thing. Make sure it's the same JMS that we compiled it from. And then we're going to light the level. And it should do it instantaneously since it's your computer's per se. So yep, so it should say bitmap created, have all these textures, and we're good to go. Now, if you want to get a little fancy with the lighting, you can if you really want, since we already ran this through. If your computer is a little beefier and to speed things up, you can, if you run a light mapping for the first time, you can click this disable asserts thing here. So you can light the level again, and it will do it in draft lighting. So basically debugging lighting. Final, it's going to take a little bit, but I'm not going to go through this through this whole thing, but you can test it to see it yourself. So now we're going to go ahead and look at our level. So we're going to run it in Sapien. So we're going to go to our tags, levels, test, tutorial test 2, and then open that scenario tag. And it's going to take a little bit. So it's going to normally take about 20-25 seconds for this thing to load, or well, it's quicker in this case. And we're going to go ahead and go up. So you hold the middle mouse button, and then you hold the WASD keys, and then R to go up, F to go down, tap Shift to increase the speed. Very simple stuff, and voila, we have done our due diligence through our map. So we have successfully done that. Now, our stuff is going to look a little weird since our smoothing's not going to look, great, but you can easily fix it by re-importing it. But this is your first level. Now we're going to go ahead and import or put vehicles on the map. So I'm going to show you how to place stuff. So in your hierarchy view, we're going to go ahead and add vehicles. So we're going to go vehicles, edit types, and we're going to hit add, and we're going to add the tags to it. So we're going to go to HCK, tags, vehicles, and then we should find the warthog. So we're going to do warthog, make sure it's this tag, MP warthog, since this is meant for multiplayer. You can add even more tags if you want. So sometimes it puts you in a random directory. Sometimes you have to find it all the way back. It's really annoying. So we're going to go to vehicles again. Let's say if we wanted to put a Banshee in, we can easily do that. So we can add the tag. You can also hit this button to get to go back a folder. And then we're going to, for instance, put a ghost in here, because why not? And then we can hit done once we're done adding the tags. And then we're going to go to our properties palette. And then we're going to put MP warthog. And then we're going to place it in this level here. So we're going to go ahead and move this around here. And we can put all the warthogs here, but before you place any more vehicles down, you're gonna make sure these are properly set up. So we're gonna put Slayer default. Actually, no. You should put Slayer allowed. So basically, all the stuff that it's gonna be using. So yeah, it should be easy. Just don't touch the default ones. Just put Slayer allowed. Have all these things checked. Just so it can recognize the vehicle. So we're going to click off of that, and then we're going to do ghost. We're going to add ghosts, for instance. You can rotate them with this gizmo. It's really simple. So you can rotate these. You can actually rotate them, or I guess not. I thought you could. Yeah, sometimes this can get really annoying. There we go. So sometimes you have to change folders because it just gets that really annoying. Then what you could do is you could hit one of the warthogs again, and then hit this blank space, and then you can do another one here, rotate it, hold left click like that, and we can do the same thing here, and then do the same thing there. And once we're done doing that, we can add weapons if you wanted to. So we're just going to do the bare minimum here, and then we can show all the other stuff later. But really, it's simple stuff. So we're going to go ahead and... actually, this is not weapons. This is going to be under item collections. So we're going to go to game data, net game equipment, and we're going to go in here, type 0. We're going to put all games. And then here, we're going to add our tag of our item collection. So similar to what the player is going to have when they first spawn, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for when it's going to drop stuff, like the weapons and stuff. So we're going to do tags, item collection, single weapons. For instance, if we want more rocket launchers, we can definitely do that. Spawn time, let's just say 120 seconds. You could pretty much tune these up however you like them. And then we're going to put probably one in each base. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can go freaking nuts with this. You can add scenery objects, stuff like that. We can add rocks as well. Very simple stuff. So we can add like rocks. So we're going to go to our scenery. And we're going to go ahead and go to scenery and then find rocks. So rocks. We can do... We can do boulder. Maybe this would work. Moss small. Pretty much like these rocks. So you can like see which one that you're going to be using. So we're going to just do this boulder, for instance, and we can right click to put it in there. I forgot to mention that, and it'll place a rock there. So it's a very good way to, like, you know, hide kind of the stuff that you don't want people to see. And then if you want to get rid of one of them, you can like click one and then hit the delete key. Very self-explanatory. It's really not rocket science, but it's pretty interesting, to say the least. Very interesting. So, place some rocks. You can add some trees. You know, all that kind of stuff if you really want to make your level decorative. So, yeah. I'm not going to go too crazy since a lot of people would want to, you know, get into their map here. So, I'm going to go ahead and load this in tag test because I know a lot of people would want to see that. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this in tag test. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our toolkit folder within Asoyos, or you can do it through the file system. And then in here, we pretty much click this normally. But I have a special shortcut that makes the game run in windowed. So if you want to do that, you can easily do that. So you create a shortcut. And with the target destination file of this shortcut here, you put these in quotes, and then after that you put dash and then windowed. That would be it's essentially an argument telling the game to run in windowed mode. So we're gonna go ahead and run it in windowed mode. Hopefully, I don't have a defined script that tells it, "Hey, go to this level," which is the init text, which we'll get to in another video. So what we're going to do now is we're going to click credits so we don't accidentally access through the menus and stuff. We're going to go ahead and hit tilde above the tab key. We're going to type in map_name levels test. And then you can alt tab to see what it is. So you can go to tags, levels, test, and it's tutorial test 2. So we're going to do tutorial test 2, and then / tutorial. Actually, no. Or yeah, tutorial _test 2. And assuming you've done that correctly, it should go like this. But the problem is we do not have spawn points set up. I forgot to show you that. So just keep this in the background. Alt tab to Sapien. Very simple thing to fix. So go to player starting points in your hierarchy view, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this all games here. We're going to put some spawn points. So for instance, we could put spawn points to each of these things and rotate them. Very simple and easy stuff to understand. So once you get into this kind of stuff that is going to be very rooted into your brain, you'll memorize all these steps. So now since we've done that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put oh god, what was I going to say? We're going to go ahead and save it. So you can do Control S, or you can go to File, Save Scenario, and it should be saved. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do game_variant Slayer, and then we're going to do map_reset. And if it says rejoin in 0, we're going to go ahead and hit the up on the arrow key to the map name command. So that's our recent command that we done. And we're going to hit enter. and then tilde again to get out of the command console. And you should see
Slayer.
Your level. So, hooray, you have accessed your level in Tag Test, which is a very, very special build of CE. So, pretty much, you could do all sorts of things in here. It's really cool. So, we got our pistol, we got our cannon of where we wanted it to be. Our vehicles did not show up, however. We can easily fix that if we go into the vehicles here. I think I need to put these all checked here. So I think you have to check every single one of them. So that way it will appear for testing purposes. So I wouldn't fret too much about it. And then we're going to go ahead and save it. Make sure these are all like that. And then you can go hit tilde again. And then up and enter. And there we go.
Slayer.
We got our vehicles into CE. So that's really cool. So that is our pretty much our level here. Hopefully we can fit through here. Yes, we can. So we can fit you through here. Now, I could have made it a little bit bigger. I could have done it, but whatever. We'll go through another video on how to set up actually, I have a video for it if you want to see how to, set up the pretty much the teleporters and stuff, and how to do game types and stuff. Very simple stuff to easy to do in Sapien. So yeah, that's pretty much on how you make a level in CE. Now, if you can pretty much just go back and forth. I mean, that's the creature comfort of these tools, is you can easily modify these once you know the weirdness that these contain. So we're just gonna add some trees to end off this video. So we're gonna add some scenery stuff to it. So I hope this gave you some sort of perspective on how these are done. Took me a while to figure this stuff out myself, so I hope you guys find this helpful. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I would love to answer them to the best of my ability. So you can right click. It's awfully too big, but you could do stuff like this. I mean, there's a lot of cool scenery objects you can place down and have fun with. I mean, there's a lot of cool things you can do. Like you can place part of these out on the map to make it less, weird. I mean, there's a lot of cool things you can do with these tools. So I hope this illustrates how you do this sort of stuff. It's really cool on how you can do all that stuff. So we're going to do Control S and then do the same thing. Map name, enter, and it will refresh it. You can see in game.
Slayer.
So I hope this video... Oh, that's the wrong one. I hope this video gave you a good understanding on how to build the levels successfully and the right way, the proper way of doing it. I hope this helped you out with something that you want to put into the Halo engines. Pretty much the later Halo engines are similar to this, but they will have their own unique differences. So I hope this helped you guys with your 3ds Max adventures, some modeling and stuff. I'll get into models once I get used to how they're imported correctly and stuff, and I'll make a video on that. So without further ado, if you guys want to see more content like this, please give this a thumbs up. I would absolutely love it and deeply appreciate that you do that for me. If you want to see more videos from me, just subscribe. I would definitely appreciate that as well. So this is Wicked Modeler 3D signing out, and we'll see you in the next one. See you later, everyone.